Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Um, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, welcome to another session of Lessons from My Mother. To those of us who celebrate Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to you. To those of us who are celebrating the birthday of Jinnah, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan. Uh, very happy birthday to Qaid Azam, to Muhammad Ali Jinnah, founder of Pakistan. And to those of us who do neither, happy holidays if you are receiving holidays where you are. If it's summer, enjoy the summer. If it's winter, enjoy the winter. I'm trying to cover as many people as I can, but the truth of the matter is, in Canada, in the US, in England, probably parts of Europe, this time of year is all about winter, white Christmas, and so forth. So that's why I'm certainly wishing you all. And that leads me to the lesson that I'm going to share today. And it may be a briefer lesson, and it's similar to some lessons that I've discussed before about things having their rightful place. Ooh, my head's being cut. But things having their rightful place. And that lesson is dine at the dining table. And I suppose I've mentioned something similar before about studying at the study table or sleeping in bed or entertaining guests on the sofa. And I'll start with the emotion of it, and then I'll go into the reason. So I was at a wonderful Christmas brunch on Saturday, just a couple of days ago. I asked friends of mine around Montreal, around 16, 17, and 14, 15 showed up. The others were busy with work, but they were all very keen on joining. And there were friends who had Lebanese backgrounds and Iranian backgrounds and South Americans and locals from Canada and Pakistanis. And it was a lovely group of people, all of whom are very close to my heart. And I'm very grateful to them that I asked them to, would you like to come and would you like to attend? And they all came and they all participated. We met at this lovely bistro in Montreal called La Fabrique. And I had booked the table, I had arranged everything, and we sat around a gigantic table with seats over 14, 16 types of people, 16 people. And I remember I was sitting at the head or at the end, and I was watching all my friends, and I said, look, this community that we've just done may not have been possible had this been a very long sofa. It wouldn't have made sense. Or a very long bed or a very long bench. This feeling of community comes from sitting around the table. Where does that come from? Because we didn't always have tables. Where does this come from? It comes from the fact that we used to sit around the fire and eat, because fire would keep us warm. We didn't have central heating for most of human history. So we'd sit around the fire. Fire would keep us light. We'd be able to see if a predator is coming to eat us or destroy us. Fire would protect us, and we could cook our food on the same flame. And we sit around it, and there's no smartphone, and there's no TV. And I'm talking about a few hundred years ago. You didn't even have to go in the last millennium. 2 millenniums ago to substantiate what I'm saying. Electricity just came under our control only a couple of hundred years ago. Benjamin Franklin and so forth. So we didn't have that. So you'd sit around the fire, and the older members of the family would tell stories, and the younger members of family might tell tales. Oh, I did this, or I went here, I played this, I found this, and that fire was replaced by the table. We started having tables, and we were able to put our food on the table and sit and eat at the table, and that became the uniting feature. Because in many families, because I've dined with families from China, Thailand, Pakistan, India, Iran, Turkey, Saudi, Somalia, parts of Europe, England, Canada, America, Lebanon, South America. So you can, maybe not Australia, but you can see I can cover 4 or 5 continents in my experience of eating with people and sitting with them. And they all sit around tables and they eat at the table. And once they're done, sometimes the younger people clean up, sometimes the ladies clean up, sometimes the ladies and gents clean up. So it's different in different cultures. And then whoever's sitting there, and either it's replaced with fruit or it's replaced with tea or something, and the dinner is done, and then the conversation begins. They're like, oh yeah, I was doing this and I was doing that, and they sit around the table. The food is done, and you're still talking, and you're eating some nuts, or you're eating some fruits, or you're just drinking tea, and that communal bonding activity is irreplaceable. Can't do that while doing a picnic. It's not intimate enough. Can't do it in the cinema. It's not quiet enough. Can't do it at a rave. Can't do it while playing a sport. It's too active. Can't do it at a concert. Can't do it in the office. Can't do it in the library. Can't do it in the classroom. Can't do it in a conference room even. Can't do it. And I was thinking, I was like, why? Why is the dining table so important? Now, in some countries, you don't eat at the dining table. You have a cloth. In Urdu, we call it a dastarkwan. A cloth, you put it on the floor, and you sit on the floor. And I've seen a lot of Arab countries do it too, maybe other countries around the world. But you sit on the cloth, and it's essentially the same idea. And you sit on the cloth, on the floor, around food, and you eat, and you do the same thing. So the table is just the cloth lifted above for ease of sitting or whatever. No other major difference. And I was in Saudi. I was in Medina this March, and I was dining with some Saudis, local Saudis, and we were all sitting on the floor, and I was like, this is essentially the same thing, sitting at a table and sitting on the floor. It's just it's part of a different activity, but essentially we're sitting around a thing. I can't have this kind of communal uniting experience on a study table if I'm eating like this and there's no front and we're just facing the wall. It's very, very different. The same goes for a bench. I'm an architect, as most people know, so I've worked on construction sites, and we've seen people who sit on a ledge and eat their lunch, but there's not a lot of chatter beyond the person next to you. You don't talk to the, hey, what's up, how you doing? You don't talk to the person who's 10 feet away from you. You talk to the people right next to you. As opposed to a round or larger dinner table, there's a lot of cross conversation. That's why even at the WEF, even at Davos, even the UNSC or the UNGA or the UNDP or whatever big conference we're having, if you decide to eat, it's always around the table and you're eating and you're talking and you're eating and you're talking. And I've been parts of these very important lunches with members of parliament or prime ministers or elected members in the UN or the EU or the cabinet or ambassadors, where you're all around a table and you're eating and you're talking and you're eating and you start talking to the person next to you, and then very soon you start talking across. Oh, I didn't know you do that. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Oh no, and then that develops into a whole other relationship. It's very, very interesting. So my mum's reasoning was exactly this, and I share this lesson today because it was Christmas yesterday. And I was invited to eat. And 2 days ago, I had this huge brunch. And I was just observing. I said, you know what? This is a beautiful experience that I'm a part of. But I can't have this on a ski slope. I can't be skiing and eating a sandwich and also talking to my friends and having this intimate bonding session. So then I started thinking, are there other places where the experience is intrinsically tied to the location or type? So sometimes I sleep on my sofa. It's a very pleasant sleep, especially when I'm watching TV and you just doze off. It's really enjoyable. But I wake up with pain in my neck, pain in my back. So I said, okay, let's sleep on a better sofa. And I've tried sleeping on a better sofa. And I again wake up with pain in my neck, pain in my back, pain in my shoulders, and a discomfort because I wasn't able to distinguish TV watching activity from sleep activity, from rest activity, and so forth. I just mixed them all up. And I couldn't really get deep sleep. It's hard to get deep sleep unless you're in a place which allows you to have deep sleep. It's hard to have deep sleep while you're watching TV on your phone and so forth. So, based on this principle, for example, I never take my mobile phone into my bedroom. That's my bedroom over there. It doesn't even have bedside tables. I purposefully don't have any bedside tables because if I put a bedside table, I'm going to put a lamp, I'm going to put a book, I'm going to put some pens, I'm going to start bringing in my laptop, I'm going to start taking in my phones, and very quickly it's going to be an electronic space. My bedroom has no electricity, none whatsoever. It has heating, obviously, because the building is centrally heated, but it has no lights. It has no well, it has sockets, but I don't use them. It has no electronic devices. It has my clothes. It has my bed. That's it. A bit of storage, and my go bag is in my bedroom. But otherwise, it has nothing, and that is done purposefully. Maybe I can have some plants. I was just talking to a friend of mine in Toronto, a lovely friend of mine, and she showed me her bedroom, and I was like, "How do you have so many plants in your bedroom? I should have plants in my bedroom too." Shout out to Estelle. Just lovely speaking to you after so long. But the point exactly is this: I have a place for sleeping, nothing else. So when I go into the bedroom, I'm not on my phone, I'm not on my laptop, I'm not eating, I'm not doing anything else. I'm in my bedroom, it's dark, I go to sleep, and I have 6, 7, 8 hours of deep sleep. And when I wake up with a jolt of energy, which I can never wake up with when I sleep on the sofa. When I wake from the sofa, I'm like, oh God. It's like this. But from the bed, I'm awake in an instant. And I think there's a strong reasoning to the fact that I'm asleep on the bed. Or it could be a traditional bed like a charpoy, or it could be a hammock, something that is designed for that activity. Like you don't play cricket on a hammock, and you don't play basketball on a football field. Designation is very important. Similarly, I work over there. You see that behind me? That's my table. That's my dining table as well, but I also have a separate section for studying or working. And I work at the dining table, or I have a separate desk. I never put the laptop on my lap. I never do it on the sofa. I never do it on the bed. I never take it into the restroom. I know so many people who are busy working on their laptops or their tablets, and they feel the need to relieve themselves. And they take the laptop and they go into the toilet and they keep working. What are you doing? Productivity comes from categorization and temporal separations. So if you're working and you say, okay, I'm going to finish this sentence, then I'm going to stop here, and get up, go to the restroom, spend 5 minutes or whatever, doing whatever, and I'll be back, I'll come back in. That is much more productive than saying, no, I'm on a roll, so I need to do this, so I'll just do this. And no. Mixing things very rarely works. That is why when I go for a run, I don't also decide to have soup while I'm running. Or I also don't decide to respond to my emails while I'm getting a jog in. And I'm not at the gym and I'm saying, oh, answer my emails. No. You must separate your activities. And I get people here all the time, not all the time, but a lot of times I've had friends or partners or colleagues who say, well, no, you can't always do that. You have to multitask. No, you don't. That means you're not dividing your time correctly. Very respectfully and frankly, you're not managing your time if you feel the need to mix things up. So I never multitask. I never ever. Look at me right now. There's no phone, there's nothing. I'm only focused on the camera. And I'm able to take my focus away and put it on something else and put it on something else. And when I need to sleep, I can switch my focus off and tie it back up. And that's not something beautiful about me, it's my activities. I don't mix things up. So, but I'm digressing from the point, but it comes from the same source. If you eat at the dining table, if you work at the study table, if you sit on your sofas and chairs or your floor, and if you sleep on the bed, if you relieve yourself in the restroom, if you shower in the shower cabinet, and so forth, that allows you to instill a discipline and categorization into your life, which will free you up so much that you don't even realize. I have a lot of friends who are very free spirits. They're always worried and stressed, and they're always trying to be free and always trying to run around. And they always complain, oh, if I just finish this off, then I'm free. But they're always trying to mix things up. And I've always said to them, I don't know where I heard it, but it turns out to be true. The more disciplined you are, the more free time you're going to have, because you will have segmentation done. Like, look, this is the activity, that is all you need to do, and then everything else is free. Do whatever you want. And I think that's the exact reason of this lesson. So I never eat on the sofa unless I have guests and I'm eating finger food like crisps or something. I never take a plate on the sofa, ever. I never do that. And I never sit on my tables. Why don't we sit on our tables? Why don't we cross our legs and sit on our tables? Because that's not the point. I never eat in the toilet. I never eat in the shower. I'm having a shower and also munching on a sandwich. That never happens. So I think this lesson derives this logic in this foundation, that when you separate activities and tie them to locations, it clears up your mind. So I have a whiteboard right here, and that whiteboard is only for plans and writing and goals and what I'm supposed to do this day, this week, this month, next month, and so forth. That's what this whiteboard is for, nothing else. I don't draw on it, I don't play on it, I don't throw wet paper towels at it. I can do that on this wall. I have a racket and a ball. I don't bounce it on the whiteboard. I do it over here or somewhere else. So when you start deciding that this place is going to do this, that place is going to do that, it frees up the rest of your space. It frees up the rest of your mind. And space is intrinsically tied to time. So it frees up the rest of your time. And that is very important. So there are a lot of people who argue with me on this. No, things don't have a rightful place. No, just go with your feeling. No, shut up. You don't know jack shit about life then, if that is going to be your argument. And I'm not going to mince my words trying to argue with somebody who tries to convince me that things do not belong in their rightful places, because I could rip their position apart very, very quickly. So I'm not going to do that in my mother's lesson. But if that is your point of view, come join me. I'll debate you on a public stage and annihilate you. That's no problem. But the point here is, if you dine at the dining table and watch TV in the TV room, and if you work at the study table, if you're opposed to it, just try it for once. I know it's difficult to manage. Most people don't do it because it's initially uncomfortable. Initially, you're like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to put these things there, put those things there? But thank God, for example, I don't lose my keys. I don't jump around looking for my phone. For example, my phone is over there on the charger every time. My keys are back there in a silver cup, and I always put my keys there. And my diaries are here, and my computer's here, and everything, and my books are here. And I don't. Do you know how much time people waste looking for the keys in the morning when they're like, where are the keys? Oh, where did I put it? Oh, where did you put it? Oh, no, none of that. So try to declutter as much as you can your space and your mental space. And again, when you declutter space, you declutter time. And if you've looked at any amounts, you'll know that that's true. Sorry, my video is glitching for some reason. Okay, so that's it to the lesson. I'm going to stop right here because I have somewhere else to be. Dine at the dining table, study at the study table, sleep in the bedroom, release yourself in the restroom, shower in the shower cabinet, and so forth. And it will help you free up your mind and free up your time and make you more productive, efficient, relaxed, peaceful, and united with yourself. So hope you enjoy this lesson. Have a wonderful week ahead. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful New Year, and I shall